Welcome to the LawyerFair.co.uk daily podcast. LawyerFair helps businesses find the right lawyer at the fairest price. But on this podcast, we just chew the fat with some great guests.
So we are the LawyerFair Daily Podcast. I am Andrew Weaver, the CEO at LawyerFair.co.uk. I'm actually recording from the IOD in London today, which is a fine establishment, but does have a little bit of background noise. So I apologise in advance if anything occurs during this chat. But on the other end of the line, I have Alan Adams. Welcome, Alan.
Thanks, Andrew. Hiya.
Thank you very much for joining us. Now, when I was looking through your LinkedIn profile, and I mean, there was so much to take out of there that would be worthy of a podcast in itself. I mean, former weapons engineer with the Royal Navy, degree in international disaster engineering, which is brilliant. As you say on your LinkedIn profile, almost Thunderbirds I'll go territory there. And also a master's in NLP, and the whole psychology of business is fascinating. And we had a guest on last week who was looking at exactly that subject. So I could ask you to talk about many different things, but the limitations of our daily podcast is such that I'm going to ask you to just talk through one of your 4 books called Survive to Thrive, where a key pillar of that book is the importance of small changes for dramatic results. So Alan, if I can use that as a kind of pillar of our conversation, and just kind of take it away a little bit from there.
Yeah, sure. I mean, it's a theme that sort of runs through everything. I mean, a lot of times, I don't know if you sort of come across this, business owners will say, if only this would happen, or if only that would happen. And there really is no silver bullet for any business, that there is no sudden overnight success. And certainly what I found with my clients, my own business and my partner's business, is it's the little changes across each section of the business that sort of end up being giving you the dramatic results.
Well, it's all that aggregation of marginal gains. Dave Brailsford and the UK cycling team, of course, mastered brilliantly the Olympics, which is so relevant here. But are there kind of classic triggers, classic areas of a business where those small changes can have a big impact?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at sort of any business, you've got sort of the 5 basics where you've got sort of leads coming into the business. You've got conversion ratios there. You've got how often those people are spending with you, and then sort of how much they're actually spending. And if you break each section down and sort of look how you can increase your leads in the business, and then look at your conversion ratios, how often you can get them back in, and what they're spending. If you can increase those by sort of just 10% across each one, you normally end up with something like a 54% uplift. Mm. The sum is far greater, and it's just little tweaks across the whole business. Mm. So one of the big things sometimes people say, I want more clients or more customers, and you say, no, you don't. What you need is more leads coming into the business.
Sorry, go on.
Yeah, and then obviously it's converting those leads. So you sort of break it down section by section.
And I think that another area, of course, that comes from that question is it's about the right type of customer as well. I mean, do you find, certainly from my experience in the past of SMEs and smaller businesses in particular, they almost ran too hard for volume without necessarily thinking about who those leads were, who those customers were, and whether they were the right ones for the business.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's we've all done it. Every single one of us, and some of the people listening to the podcast maybe right now, if you think about that, you will have that customer or had a customer where they're the ones that sort of they knock you down on price, they take more of your time than anything else, and you're really onto a loser with them, and it's just having the courage, just sack them.
Yeah.
And yourself, you take them on. You're thinking, oh, something doesn't feel right. Oh, but it'll be okay, and they just go along with it. And I can think of a few of my clients where I've sat down with them and I've said, just sack them in the nicest possible way. If you can't educate them into good clients, just give them to the competition.
And are there classic examples, Alan, in terms of, without naming names, obviously, of where someone has realised, perhaps with your assistance or not, that is not the right type of customer?
Yeah, I mean, I've had all sorts of conversations with different people, and it's just I'm trying to think of one off the top of my head. It's just knowing when someone's if you wake up thinking about a customers and it's not in a good way, then they're not the right customer for you.
Oh, that's a great line, isn't it? If it just doesn't feel right, no matter what the numbers are, you've really got to reconsider it.
Yeah, I'm definitely recently myself. I mean, I've never actually in 5 years sort of sacked a client, but last month I did. In the nicest possible way, I just explained to him that we weren't a good fit.
Yeah.
He was quite sort of a bit of a sort of a negative personality, and I just thought I'm not sure I can work with you, and so I went with my gut feeling, and give him his money back.
And does some of that advice and some of that kind of example, does that knits in nicely, I suppose, with some of the NLP stuff, doesn't it? I mean, there are psychological reasons for going to work and for doing work, and one of them is to work with good people, positive people, and people that make you feel like you're enjoying the work. And there are some clients who might, even if they're profitable clients, who might not necessarily be delivering happiness into your quality of working life.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of this it comes back in again. When you feel something isn't right, a lot of the time it's because the values don't fit.
Yeah.
My partner runs a PR agency, and she was actually approached by a company that was not the well-known one that was recently in the news, but by a company that was sort of promoting online sort of infidelity. And that really didn't sit with the values of my partner's agency, and so they turned it down.
Yeah.
So if you actually understand your values, it also if you understand your values and put them out there, why you're in business and what you're about, you will actually attract the people that you want to attract.
No, it's interesting, and another area I think that, and again, you may have come across this in terms of small changes having dramatic impact. I always find is pricing. And also understanding the margins in your different products and services that you offer. And there are a lot of businesses, again, who run extremely hard, and they have, I don't know, I came across a business that I was involved with my M&A hat on, who had a product range of, I don't know, 150 or something, I think. When they actually sat down and worked out, I think only half of them were profitable. And so just sitting down and analysing the profitability and margin in those different product lines, they weeded out the ones that weren't, and suddenly they had the bottom line impact was enormous. And for them at the time, they were kind of preparing the business for sale. So clearly with the bottom line changing so dramatically, so too did the potential multiple for the sale of that business.
Yeah, I mean, you have to know your numbers, and it is about what you do. I mean, one of my pet hates is discounts. There's always better ways of doing something. Recently I was speaking to I was having a chat with somebody, and they were doing car servicing, and they were offering 15% discount on the first service, which was about 20 quid. And I said, why do that? I said, that's cutting into your profits. I said, what can you give people that is worth more value, but it's going to cost you less money? And I think it ended up, he offered some sort of luxury wash kit that was priced at like 40 quid, but it was costing him 15. So it was costing him less money. The people coming in were actually getting something that was worth, or perceived value was £40, so they were actually getting more. It's just a much cleverer way of doing it.
No, it's a great example. Can I ask you a question, Alan, about the Survive to Thrive book? There's a statement in terms of the marketing statement anyway, that says the importance of strategy over tactics. I just wondered if you could just explain a little bit more about what you mean by that.
Yeah, well, I mean, strategy and tactics, and one of the things I ask when I do my workshops and stuff is, which is most important, and it's not that they're both as important as each other, but strategy comes first. So, and whenever you're sort of building any kind of strategy, you have to start with the end goal. And for me, it's I don't build a business plan first off. I build a lifestyle plan. So it's where you want to be, lifestyle, and then we work out, what your business has got to be doing, and then you can sort of look at where you are now and work backwards to actually build that plan in the first place. So it's all the sort of top line stuff about and it's got to be a cohesive plan. So you've got to look at every area of the business, your products, your marketing, your positioning, the pricing. That you've got to know, build an avatar of your ideal client. The person that everyone's got a dream client. You should have a written down picture where they shop, what they do, where they are on social media, so then you can start talking to them in the right way.
And I think that's interesting that you say an end goal being the lifestyle plan rather than the business plan, because I think that, again, tell me if this is the reality of the clients you're working with, but I think there's been a entrepreneurial cultural shift that I think is very positive in terms of Dragon's Den and all this kind of stuff. But sometimes I think that people think that the exiting their business or getting a multiple of their business is the be all and end all. And I think they focus on that business plan as the end game rather than actually the lifestyle and the quality of life they're going to get running that business. Do you see that at all in terms of the emphasis, the wrong kind of emphasis on what the end goal is?
Yeah, I mean, but a lot of the time I actually see there's no real
There's no goal, end goal.
which is just incomplete. You know, it's just like, oh, we're just building something.
Yeah.
So it's almost like the Alice in Wonderland when she's talking to the cat, and
Yeah.
she says, you know, he's saying, well, which way should I go? And he's like, well, where do you want to go? And it's like, well, anywhere. And
Yeah.
that's just a complete wrong philosophy. You know, people, from what I've seen, a lot of the time people spend more time planning exactly where they're going on holiday. They do sort of working on their life and their business plans, which,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, no one turns up to the airport, points at a plane, and says, "Right, let's just jump on that one then."
Yeah.
You know, there's a you know, it's just having it's not even not having a good idea, but knowing exactly where you want to get to, so that you can sort of work out and tie that in with your business plan. Because when I've seen business plans before now, that you know, you can end up just working 100 hours a week for 5 years, and I've seen it. But you know, people having, you know, someone I spoke to last year hadn't had a holiday for 5 years. I basically told him, I said, if you're going to work with me, for starters, you've got to go on holiday.
Yeah. No, absolutely. That's a real kind of false economy, isn't it? The no holiday regime, which I have to say many small businesses do, particularly when they're so dependent on the owner operator. But listen, that's really useful. Loads of great stuff in there, Alan. There's a number of books that people can buy that are written by you. What's the latest? What's the one that's coming off the shelves? Is the one coming soon?
Yeah, literally, I had a book launch down in London last week for Passion to Profit, which is for creative agencies, so web design, PR agencies, that kind of thing. And The Beautiful Business, which is for sort of clinics, aesthetics, that kind of stuff.
Okay. And obviously survives to, if I could say, get my teeth back in. Survive to Thrive was the one that we were referring to in terms of the small changes, dramatic results. Alan, thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate you coming on board. I forgot to mention that Alan is also one of the UK's top 50 business advisors, as nominated by Enterprise Nation. So well done on that. And thanks so much for your time.
No, brilliant. Thanks, Andrew. Bye.
Great stuff. That was the LawyerFair Daily Podcast, and there'll be more tomorrow. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening to the LawyerFair.co.uk daily podcast. If you'd like to listen to more, why not subscribe and download each episode via iTunes or visit us on the LawyerFair.co.uk website.